Spanish if you want for you today. Look at Orlovsky back for the first time since the Super Bowl.
Good to be back.
Dressed the part.
I gotta give the men and the women a shout out. The hockey, all of the Olympians. But it was a good day Sunday. That was a fun day.
It was a lot of fun.
What they did was awesome. Shout out to the men and the women.
Great to have you back. We got a million things coming up today. Schrager is live at the Combine. We'll be all over all the NFL news and notes and draft and all that kind of stuff. But we begin with a showdown last night on the floor in Denver. Celtics and Nuggets. Jason Tatum is on the road for this 4-game road trip. He is working 5-on-5 according to Shams. We'll dive into what that means as we go. But let's dive into what was a good game. Here's my MVP, Jaylen Brown, 2 of his 23, JWill.
Yeah, look, 23 points, but 23 points on 21 shots. Denver did a really good job defensively, in particular Bruce Brown guarding.
Later in the quarter, Allen, it's Nikola Jokic doing what Nikola Jokic does.
Yeah, he's unguardable, especially when he's knocking down his threes. He was 4 of 13, though, from downtown. But the bench is what I like about the Nuggets. Tim Hardaway Jr. with a nice dunk.
14 off the bench for him, and then Jokic loses it and then gets it back, and the Nuggets take an 8-point lead on this run to close the third quarter. One more here off the turnover, KJ Simpson.
Look, the Celtics were 3-0 on their West Coast road trip until this game. Denver's defense is what beat them up.
Nuggets ended that third on an 11-0 run, and then the fourth quarter was a lot of this. Again, we mentioned Hardaway had 14 off the bench, and then 5 minutes to go, Denver's lead is 17. Let's put some punctuation on it. Jokic, his own rebound, up and good. They played this game. Jamal Murray, who was sick, played just 8 minutes, and yet still the Nuggets wind up winning it big. But here's the number that matters. The 40-20 rule. Alan, you brought this to the show. It's Phil Jackson's rule. As of now, we can officially declare there will only be 3 teams in the NBA who win 40 games before they lose their 20th, because the Celtics fell from that rank last night.
Right, and now do we believe that the champion is coming from these 3 teams? Or do we believe that this will be an outlier year, which there has been?
What is the number? What is the stat? Since 1980?
Since 1980. It's about 90%.
90% of the champions
have been 140 before they lost 20.
And last night was the Celtics' 20th loss. They have 38 wins. So that's the question, JWill. Detroit, OKC, and San Antonio. Are you willing to say the champion is one of those 3 teams?
I think it's 2 out of 3 teams. I think the Eastern Conference is playing for a consolation prize. Frankly, I think the winner is going to be either OKC, the Spurs, or the Nuggets. I think it's the West competing against everybody else. Those top 3 teams, I think that's going to be one of your NBA champions.
You buying that?
Yes, because that's where the brand names are, right? Like in a year like this, which feels like it's a little more wide open than usual, we are now in an era where there are no dynasties, right? We're still waiting for one to emerge. We thought maybe the Thunder could be one. They still very much could, because they're right there in the 40-20. But when you think about it, all the teams you know, all the players you know play there. And so in the East, you have a younger team like Detroit with a younger superstar in Cade Cunningham that we're still learning about. You have a Boston team that's compromised because they're missing one of their superstars. And then a Knicks team that is, what are they? That's why I think, once again, the West is the best.
Can we just say this, though, as it relates to the Boston Celtics? Like, I want Jason Tatum to be on the court more than anybody. I should have given Jason Tatum my number in college, right? I should have allowed 22 to come out of the rafters because he wanted to wear 22 and allowed him to wear the number 22.
You guys don't all just have
No, we don't give each other our numbers. I had to graduate. There's a longer story with that. That's for another day and a full bottle of vino.
All right.
But I will say this,
very unsubtle flex, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, I don't want to see him come back too early and jeopardize it. And also, everybody says, oh, he'll come back. You know how hard it is to come back? If you're thinking about coming back during March or April, for a guy like this, just to fit all of a sudden into the system seamlessly, and they're going to find their rhythm. This whole team has been playing without him for a long period of time.
Playing very well.
And playing very well. You're going to disrupt that. I'd much rather see him come back in the offseason and work his way into the season next year than jeopardize it and maybe re-injure himself.
I'll say it
That's
again.
Just me.
Shams yesterday reporting that Tatum has been a full participant in 5-on-5 practices. He tore the ACL, the Achilles in May.
May 16th is the date. That's the day that it happened. And if you think about a year is usually what it takes. Some players have come back. Dominique Wilkins came back in 10 months. Kobe, 8 months, right? But they didn't parachute into a playoff run. You're talking about Wesley Matthews did it in 7 months. But a star player who would be expected to do a lot, to parachute in when everybody else is now already going 100 miles an hour. You're trying to ramp. Jay, no one knows this better than you. because of what you had to come back from and how hard it was to come back. To understand that when you've been out for a while, to jump in at the start of a season's tough. To jump in at the start of the playoffs,
exactly.
That's got to be a big challenge.
And also, all the players then defer to you on the court, and it hinders the growth that they made, all the strides they made throughout the course of the regular season.
Yeah.
Because now everybody's going to stop and like, how do we fit Jason Tatum into our offensive flow? How does he fit into our rhythm? That doesn't happen overnight.
Is it unfair to Jaylen Brown, too, because he has emerged as an MVP candidate and he has emerged as the bona fide leader of this team? He comes in, there's this sense of deferral, there's this sense of how do I work him in? Like, for me, I understand what Tatum's doing, and I understand the Celtics for wanting to give him a why right now. Good for his mental to keep working and have something to achieve. But I don't know if it's the best thing for the team right now.
They may be playing for the consolation prize in the East, to your point, but do you believe the Celtics, without Jason Tatum, can win the East with Detroit looking? No.
No.
That's the Pistons conference to lose. The Cavaliers.
I don't think the Cavs are in that conversation. I think it's Detroit. I think it's Detroit and everybody else.
Okay.
Grant, I'm just going to tell you, from watching the Knicks game, you get a chance to see Cade Cunningham, 6'6", 250 pounds, move the way he does. I know there's some flaws, but that's the best team in the Eastern Conference.
Cade Cunningham is emerging as a very safe bet to win MVP, but not solely because of the way he plays. It's a fascinating story. It's coming up a little later in the program. But our next stop is Philadelphia.
Enough to join us. Hello, Field. In your opinion, is Reese making the right choice classifying himself as an edge rusher?
Joe, good morning to you. And yes, I do think the answer by Arvell Reese yesterday was the exact right one, because Arvell Reese, despite having immense upside as a player, had under 100 pass rushing snaps this past season for Ohio State. But as you think about mock drafts and eventually the real draft come April 23rd, if a team is going to invest a very, very high pick, and I'm talking about as high as potentially number 2 overall, it's very rare for a team to do that for a player that projects to play as a stand-up inside linebacker. The upside is tremendously high for Arvell Reese. And look at the pay scale in the NFL. Micah Parsons signed a deal this past offseason for nearly $50 million per year because he's one of the best pass rushers in the league. The best stand-up inside linebackers, guys like Fred Warner, are just north of $20 million per season. That tells you all you need to know about the positional value in the NFL. Reese is going to be a very good pass rusher. He just needs more seasoning. This workout will help show teams that he is getting closer to becoming that player.
Fair counterpoint. When has anyone in professional sports ever cared about money? I'm not so sure that was a driving factor here, but I'll take it under consideration. There are a plethora of other stud players that are going to be working out today. One player seems to be a little bit smarter than all the others. I want you to take a listen to R. Mason Thomas when asked about his lack of size.
I tell him an equation. I say the little force equation. I tell him mass times acceleration equals force. So if I'm not a 280 guy, I'm not a 265 guy, I'm a 250 guy. All I need to do is generate some more force. More speed to generate more force. So a guy like that's 280 that can generate force, taking one step in the ground, I got to generate the same amount of force, but I may have to take 3 or 4 steps. So all it is less weight, more speed. That's all.
Sold. Absolutely sold. I know you like R. Mason Thomas as well, Field. Is this why?
First of all, Joe, his actual name is Professor R. Mason Thomas. Let's get that right going forward. He is a smart man and a heck of a football player. I love R. Mason Thomas, who had some of his season last year compromised by injury. But this guy can flat out go off the edge. One of the best pure rushers in the entire class. So what he lacks in size, even though he's not that small of a guy, he more than makes up for with acceleration and burst off the edge and some heavy hands as well. He is unafraid to get into the chest plates, some of these 330-pound offensive tackles, and he does bring some of that force that he was describing. Same thing goes for Zion Young, who has maybe the most powerful hands of any of the pass rushers in this year's class. He's got long arms as well, 6.5 sacks this past season at Missouri. This guy is an absolute force against the run as well. 4-year college player, 2 years at Michigan State, 2 years at Missouri, got the job done in each of those 4 seasons. Guy had a great week at the Senior Bowl. Wouldn't surprise me if Zion Young is one of the 5 pass rushers, our first 5 pass rushers taken in the upcoming draft, and that could very well be in the first round.
Field Yates, excellent insight.